Hello everyone, I'm Jade le Roux, and today I am here at the Pietermaritzburg School of Fashion. It's been such an exciting morning. We've had models and designers bustling in and out of here, and it's just been such a action-packed morning. This is the judging day for the final year exams for first, second, third, and fourth students at this fashion school. And I'm joined here by industry icons in the fashion industry. Greg Wallis, none other than Mrs. Priscilla Bhika herself, the founder of Pietermaritzburg Fashion School, Nonhlanhla Khumalo, and Nivasha Beharie. Thank you so much for having us here today. And can we start with just giving a brief introduction, who you are and what your role is within the industry?
Hello, everybody. My name is Greg Wallis. I started my craft in the clothing industry in 1970. So I think that adds up to 55 years in the clothing business. Know a little bit about clothing. Having been in the industry for so long, my passion is transferring skills, uplifting people, and trying to place people in the industry so that they can start earning a living and providing work for colleagues. So in my role, my primary role is supplying garments to the national chains. I'm talking about the Edgars and the Pick and Pay Clothing, etc., etc. But that allows me in the freedom to work with the various institutions of learning, with the colleges, and helping them and guiding them. The biggest problem with mentors and lecturers is imprinting their stamp on the designer's work. That is one of my favorite hates. The designer must do their work, and with the knowledge that I've garnered over the years, I try to guide them in the correct way. So there's no such thing as good and bad designing. It's how you implement it and what you do to shape it to make it extra special. Many years ago, the prerequisite was, I have a passion for fashion. Well, if somebody says that to me, their documents go into the trash can, because it's not a passion for fashion anymore. It's about hard work. It's about integrity. It's about being amenable. And the one thing that designers forget is that they are not only a designer, but they are also an actor. If you're presenting a collection and you can't put it across to your buyer, whether it's they're buying one garment or they're buying 1,000 garments, if you can't put it across, then you're out of business. Punctuality is so important. It's no good getting an order for a wedding dress and delivering the dress after the brides walk down the aisle. That does happen. It's not a joke. And designers need to time manage. It's one of the biggest problems with creative people. They don't know how to manage their time. I work with very experienced designers who've been in the business for 15 and 20 and 25 years. They have no clue about time management. And there I'm not transferring skills because many of them are more clever than me and more creative than me. Mine is transferring business practice, and they need it. So in my, shall I call it extramural time, I go to various colleges, locally and internationally, and I lecture about putting collections together. I've noticed in the passage of time, one of the biggest problems is quality. And many times I say to a buyer, you're showing me a range of garments, show me the garment that you'll wear. And they won't wear any of those garments. So why design them? If you won't wear and promote your own product, why bother to get out of bed and make it? And so I spend a lot of time with quality, with costing, but it's the business side of it that we need to get smartened up. The talent, there is an abundance of talent, whether it's in Durban. I was judging in Cape Town recently. I judged at the SAE College in Milan in Italy. I work with Nottingham Trent University in the UK. There is an abundance of creativity. It's nailing it down into making it out of a business, because at the end of the day, nobody's working in a factory or locked to a sewing machine because they love it. They're there for the money. We're here for the money, honey. Thank you.
Mrs. Bhika, tell us a bit about yourself and your school. I mean, the Pietermaritzburg School of Fashion is celebrating 60 years this year.
All right. I think I started years ago with my mum, who was late. She was a designer, not qualified, but she made clothes for everybody. And I'd hang around with her. I opened this college in Pietermaritzburg 60 years ago. And I've not been sorry. There has been the ups and downs of being in business, but I enjoyed every bit of it. Why I opened the school? I found that women were being neglected. I worked as a social worker before I did designing or together. I just found that women were always a housewife, sweeping, cleaning. They had no identity, even if they had talent. And there was so much that they could give to South Africa. And I started the school for them, not only in fashion, in catering and cooking and a lot of courses. They excelled, and so did I. South Africa is the hot pot for fashion.
The school has done here, and the school has done an amazing job of really putting South African fashion and Pietermaritzburg on the fashion map, nationally and globally. And I mean, I think we've been reporting on the students and the designers and what you've done and what you've created for so many years, and it's really amazing to just be here and see firsthand the absolute excellence that you have literally cultivated and continue to just keep that standard high. So it's really a pleasure to be there and see that every single year how it just gets better. Hi, Nonhlanhla.
Hello, my name is Nonhlanhla Khumalo. I'm from eThekwini Municipality under the Durban Fashion Fair program, which is part of the fashion development program implemented by the city of eThekwini. The main intention basically is to promote enterprise development amongst the fashion designers based in Durban. We also responsible for models where we train them and then prepare them for the runway, where we recruit them from the townships and then we prepare them for the runway, and then during the annual Durban Fashion Fair we then launch them, and then where people can start recognizing them. The program Durban Fashion Fair started 14 years ago, which was 2011, and we have empowered or uplifted a lot of designers. We work with stakeholders, we work with partners to do that. And also we are responsible, or we sponsor the fashion development element of the Hollywood Bats Durban July, which also involves designers from the whole of KwaZulu-Natal, where also we've witnessed talent coming from this particular school being represented and seeing the potential of the learners. I think also that is why today it's so beautiful to watch what we are adjudicating today, and also providing our inputs as judges to what we see, and the students using that as an investment towards their future, looking at their concept and guiding them to prepare themselves for the runway in December. It's powerful for us, and we would like to also congratulate the school for the good work that they're doing. I've been part of this team for the past 4 years or 3 years, and seeing the growth, it's humbling. And we want to say to the school management and teachers or the lecturers, well done. And to Greg also. Greg has been with us, the Durban Fashion Fair, we were just talking, since we started. Designers that have been there, he knows them, he's guided, he's trained. We've got a mentorship program where we mentor designers. We train them for how to construct their garments, how to create brands, because the main intention for the program is to see them thriving and being successful within the sector and making money, like Greg mentioned, because all we want to do is to see fashion brands making money. So we train them. We want to see them opening their own boutiques and making money and creating employment. Us as government, job creation is key. So that is why also as a city we committed to this program, because it contributes to economic empowerment and job creation. Thank you.
So beautifully said. Thank you. So I'm Nivasha Beharie, daughter of the very famous Priscilla Bhika. And I've been in fashion.
See the resemblance, yeah.
I've been so I've been in fashion my entire life because of Priscilla, and it's been fabulous. So School of Fashion is very close to my heart. It is part on and the foundation of who I am. I have now, I'm based in Johannesburg and I lecture at 2 different fashion institutions, and I'm a moderator and assessor for fashion designing in South Africa. So this is an enormous opportunity to showcase what Pietermaritzburg has to offer, and it's a lot. The work that has been done foundation level 60 years ago has grown to such an incredible college with so many brilliantly talented designers that are now owning businesses in Pietermaritzburg and having part of the biggest infrastructure of fashion that is within PMB itself. So it's wonderful.
No, really, it's amazing, and you can see the growth and the work that the school has and the influence it's had. And it's been amazing. Every year we are blessed and honored to be part of the final fashion show that the School of Fashion puts on for all the graduates. But it's also been amazing to see the behind the scenes, because so much work goes in, and it starts before. You can see that it starts way before today, but you can also see how this is such an important time to just guide them to get to the final step. And the judging process, you can see the kind of focus and attention to detail and the excellence that is required. So let's get into talking about today and the importance of it, and how does the judging work? How does the process unfold, and how do you get to this point, and what does the judging mean to actually get them to the final fashion show?
Being part of the School of Fashion, I think the main is our history. We're here for 60 years, and we are very privileged and honored to always have the icons in fashion adjudicate our students. Coming from the most respected fashionistas that've been in the business for the longest time. So the students of ours are getting the best advice, the best guidance. They're being recognized by the eyes that are going to take them a step further. And I think we as the School of Fashion are extremely grateful that we have Nonhlanhla Khumalo from the DFF, and we have Greg Wallis in our midst, because they are truly icons. Priscilla Bhika has always been an icon, and just having leaders in the fashion industry guide the young designers and the emerging talent at the moment is key. It's key.
Definitely. And Greg, how long have you been part of the adjudicating process for the School of Fashion?
For this school,
Yes.
I can't remember. What I can tell you, that I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't put my name to something that I wasn't proud of. I'm not on their payroll. I do it because I want to promote the craft. I want to upskill people, and I want them to be able to contribute to the GDP. When I first came here, it was okay. And it's built itself up. The lecturers do an incredible job here. They are very knowledgeable, and it's built itself up. And to be honest, I do a lot of judging, but one of the highlights of my judging career is coming here to see the progress of these students. And many of these students I've catapulted into the industry, and I'm very proud of what they've done. But I'm more proud of where they came from, and I'm more proud of the roots that got them to come from here. Priscilla was ahead of her time all those years ago as a social worker. Today we're celebrating women and what's happening to them. But she celebrated this 60-something years ago. And for me, that's just incredible. But the outcome is now. And when I look at these people and I see what they're doing, I've got to make it my duty now to push them in the important things. The important things are not the elementary things that they've been taught and drummed into. They have got to promote themselves. When I go to a major retail with a store in every city, and I've got to tell them what the denim trends are going to be, because we're working on 26, 27, and we're researching 2028. And I've got to go and tell them what is coming. If I'm not 100% certain of myself, how can I tell them that? So when I go to a major chain to do a presentation, it's not going to 6 people in front of a wedding table. It's going into an auditorium with 300 or 400 people. And I've got to have the confidence to go down there and address them. And I've got to have the courage of my convictions to tell them what's coming. And yes, of course, sometimes you're not 100% sure, but I can't show that point of weakness. And that's where the acting comes in. So when I leave there, they know that they're going to buy confidence, credibility, the right garments, the right direction, and the correct price. So for me, it's a total picture, and the picture starts here. And I'm so proud I'm actually humbled to be able to come here year after year. I can't remember how many years I've been doing it.
Many.
I can't remember. But all I can tell you is it's one of the highlights of my year. And it's just incredible.
And I think what you said about, preparing the designers for the industry, because we love, like you say, we love to focus on fashion, and it's all about creativity and express yourself. But what do you do with all of that when you want to make a living? And let's be real, it's a very competitive industry, and like you say, the deadlines. You can't just rely on creativity. So I think the focus on the business side as well, and how we can see that coming together today, just watching you in the judging process. The way all of you guide the students, and also the way it's set up with that storytelling element. There has to be a theme. So what is the theme for this year's judging for their collections?
The entire thing is Africa, and as you see, what Africa comes out like, and creativity. That's not our creativity; it's coming from them. We actually learn from them.
People say that to me. People say, I got an award from the eThekwini municipality as a living icon in the fashion industry. However, it's misguided. And I'll tell you why. I'm 75 years old. And every day I'm learning from these students. I'm learning. It's a symbiotic relationship. They're learning from me and I'm learning. But being in the fashion industry, being a designer, because ostensibly I am a designer, being a designer is a tightrope walk. Imagine now putting 6 collections out every year and doing it for 55 years and bettering the previous year. It's a tightrope walk. So Greg's not a wonderful person. He's not a kind person. I'm stealing from the students because I know what the students, how they think. So when a big company calls me and says, will you tell us the influence of linen for summer 2026? I already know. Not from my research engines, but from what the students are doing.
But it's amazing because they're part of the process. So they think they're students, but without even being in the industry, with thanks to you and the collective collaboration, they're part of influencing industry trends as well. And I think that synergy that you all bring here is really amazing.
So it really annoys me. There are a few stalwarts, okay, who've really pushed this industry and the craft. But there are a lot of them popping up all over the place like mushrooms, and they're teaching designers to be store ready. But neither them nor any of the lecturers have ever set foot into a buying office in one of the stores. So I'm going to go around next year. It's my poking out of eyes next year. And I want to know, you're lecturing in costings and getting garments store ready. Who have you supplied? There's a college in one of these towns in South Africa who's teaching people how to deal with buyers. They've never met a buyer. So how can you teach something from a book? Doesn't work. The clothing industry is about being practical. That's why there are very few handbooks for the clothing industry. And it's the people that are in the industry who practice those things every day that can teach the students. And I'm very proud to say that one of the institutions of learning in Durban has now reversed their thought process. They don't want people with doctorates and masters. They want people in the industry to come and on a weekly basis lecture their students. And they've already told me at my last meeting with them, they've seen the swing around in the adaptability from the students, which is very encouraging. Unfortunately, my passion is the clothing industry. I live it and love it every day, more and more.
Nonhlanhla, for you, what has stood out from what you've seen from the designs today?
I think from what we've seen so far, it's been too great. Seeing what the concept or the theme aligning to their creations, and I mean all of what we've seen so far, we are halfway through. It's great. The way they constructed their garments, the presentation, their color combination as well, it shows that great work has went in from the lecturer's side and the school. So we look forward to more, and we can't wait to see what will be on the runway.
And then maybe from the school side, what goes into training the designers? Obviously, to get them to this point, a lot of work must go in, to set the standard. How does that process unfold throughout the year, in the training, in the, getting them to this point where they know they're not just coming in here to showcase, they're coming in here to, to literally have their works under scrutiny, to have to stand up and answer for why they did that, why they made that choice, down to the threads that they've used and the stitching. It's a lot. What goes into actually preparing them for that?
Right. So for the past 60 years, it's been it's the same curriculum that we've used, and it's worked for 60 years in that it's trained students from basic levels. So as soon as you come into the college, you learn your basics, learning how to measure a person, then draft, cut, stitch. We tend to be very strict, and that is why our students produce good quality garments, and it's stretched from the very first garment that they make. So they have crits along the way, and that guides them through the entire process. So they start off at basic, and because of our accredited curriculum, we're very, very intense, and we encourage our students in every part of what is required for them when they get into the industry, like timekeeping and making sure that they actually finish the garments. So they have deadlines that they have to abide by, and simple things like arriving on time at school. So if they don't arrive on time, they are fined, and sort of puts them into the exact timing of what needs to happen when you get into work, when you get into industry, and what's required on a larger basis. So it starts off at ground level. So from first year, you'd find our students already getting that system in. And so when they develop into second tier and tailoring and couture, they already have the groundwork that's done. And that makes a great difference.
They're building on that foundation, and it's
absolutely
high from day one.
Absolutely. And also what we do at the School of Fashion is encourage using cultures. We have encouraged it for 60 years, and it what makes us proudly South African. Our students come from diverse cultures, and celebrating their cultures is what is true to us as an industry. And I think now that South Africa is at a level where it's fashionable to be South African. It's fashionable to wear clothes that is proudly South African. And I think that is huge. And living through this moments is fabulous for the School of Fashion and for us.
I mean, it's an amazing space to be in now, where we actually see South African designs on the global runways. Celebrities are wearing them on the red carpet, and it's a proud moment. And it's really great to know that you've been championing this way before it was cool, for the last 60 years. And that is also why you're at the forefront of the industry now, because you're bringing these designers. And now that it's exploded, it's not new. You've been doing this all along, and now everyone is taking note. But also there is a well-functioning place
Yeah.
for designers now, and that is really great.
It is, and I think it's wonderful because now they're getting recognized and getting selected for the wonderful Durban Fashion Fair, and getting selected for the Hollywood Bets Durban July, and getting celebrated for SA Fashion Week, and being seen on the broader spectrum. So although Pietermaritzburg was widely known as Sleepy Hollow, there's no chance it's Sleepy Hollow in the terms of fashion. It hasn't been for 60 years, and having our students being celebrated on such a big platforms nationally and internationally it shows true to what talent comes out of the Midlands and out of small towns. So it's wonderful.
The winning formula is the Maritzburg's best kept secret is slowly coming out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's quite
Tell you
exciting.
what annoys me is that the world famous designers come to South Africa. They go all around the country, the Kruger Park, Cape Town, the Midlands, up the North Coast. They have a wonderful time. They sap up our cultures. They sap up our weather. They go back and they do it better than us. That annoys me intensely.
Exploitation.
So, recently I was phoned by an Italian journalist of a well-known Italian magazine, and they could hardly speak English. And I can't speak Italian. I speak a few words to get by. I know where the toilet, I have to say where's the toilet, but I do have a guide on my phone. And they wanted me to explain to them how European fashion influenced African fashion. So I drew on the Shangans, the isiZulus, all the different cultures, and then I sent them pictures of how a bustier from the south of France is interpreted in the Eastern Cape with the sewing techniques and then the Zulu beadwork and all the rest of it. It was published all over Italy.
Wow.
It was miraculous because, as I say, he couldn't speak English and I couldn't speak Italian. But it showed the rest of the world how we here can adapt European fashion to suit ourselves, and we do it beautifully.
Amazing.
We have the cultures. We have a melting pot of cultures. And we can put it together better than anybody that I know. We just didn't do it in the past. Now we are armed to do it. So it's very interesting.
I know it's a really exciting time to be in the industry, and to have schools like yours that are really just providing that space for young designers.
Yeah.
So let's talk about today. What are you looking for the designers? What's when you're judging? What are the kind of things that you're looking for and keeping an eye out? And
I haven't been at the school a long time. I got lecturers, and I got my daughter that's running it for me. So I got quite surprised. There's a lot of garments here, like the Africa garments. Craig already wants them. So yeah,
so
I
it's
feel
been
proud.
a wonderful experience.
I feel proud of what they do.
Yes.
Okay, so my every day is spent with clothes. I have designers working with me. I never say somebody works for me. They work with me. So when that garment comes through the door and it approaches me, I tell them to take it away and burn it. And I think part of my success is that I don't bluff people. Because when I'm faced with a buyer and a buyer wants something from me, they're not going to accept second best. So I've got to get the designers into the culture of producing the best that they can produce. It's just unfortunate. Well, in the business, they call me Hawkeye, because as the garment walks through the door, I can see things wrong with it. My job is to find fault with it before I send it to my buyer. So what did I come here for today? Well, the first impression for me is that model walking through the door. Does the garment fit? Is the fabrication right? Is the color to the theme? Then it comes in, and then I go through the checklist. And the checklist here has been designed to copy all those compartments. Because designing a garment, it's not the whole thing, from the conception to the selling. It's not in compartments. But in order to make it happen, you've got to compartmentalize it. So, creative design. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it fit? No. Structural design. Bustiers. Are they boned? Because if the bustier doesn't fit properly and it's not boned, she's going to fall and her boobies are going to be shown to the crowd. Color coordinating. Believe it or not, some people can't coordinate colors, strangely enough. Originality and presentation. When a bride comes to me in my private business, which is making wedding dresses, I only make 18 a year. But when she comes to me and she gives me a picture of Beyonce, I'm a designer. I can't copy. First of all, she hasn't got the body that Beyonce's got. Secondly, she hasn't got the presentation that Beyonce's got. I'll give her Greg Wallis's version of that dress. And this is a big problem. Everybody that sits behind a sewing machine or a drawing pad thinks they are a designer. There are categories of people that work in this industry. We need a pavement special. The lady who sits on the pavement making pinafores and aprons and dukes, we need her, and a lot of them make a lot of money. We also need a seamstress for your daughter's getting married and going to matric dance and you want to make a dress for her, and here's the picture, my daughter wants this. We need that person. But a designer has to know what's coming in the future. They have to know their fabrics. They have to know body proportions. So many people who call themselves designers, they present me a drawing and the top is longer than the bottom. So the proportions are all wrong. So when the important thing is to look at storyboards, because when you look at the storyboard and she can't draw the picture right, how's she going to sew it right? So there are all those categories, but the overall for me, the percentage is already when she walks through that door. And then I break it down. I may increase it or I may decrease it. It's very important, the overall picture. When you go to a dance, they don't look at, did you use Chanel perfume or did you use a garment from Free to Be You? They look at the overall thing first and then they digest it and then they melt it down. So for me, it's got to have all those compartments thrown into one. So when I teach designers how to put a collection together, you're starting from the concept. How did they get the concept? Where did the inspiration come from? That's why the storytelling is so important. And then you go all the way through to the costing of the garment. Now, who are you going to present it to? I've got agents throughout the country, but the agent feels nothing for those garments. So if the theme is aviator for that year, I take them to an airport and I put them in a hangar and the models come marching through amongst the airplanes. If it's tropical island, I put them on a boat in the bay and I have parrots singing around and people dressed up as pirates, and then the models come marching through. So it's the whole story that accounts for the marks.
Well, I'm very happy to say that I haven't seen anyone who walks through the door being quickly sorting it out. So that's already a positive.
It may come. We don't know what it is.
But we're off to a good start.
What are you looking for?
For me, it's quality control. The collection must be presentable. And also it needs to fit the eye. I shouldn't be in a situation where when I compare what I see in the shop and what you give to me, this one needs to take precedence than the one at the shop. And also in terms of them being able to narrate the story behind, it's quite inspiring and would love to see that. And how creatively it's made and without any glitches. And also what I've also learned being in the industry is that there's always a story to tell behind the garment. And also what the designer went through creating the garment also, it's nice to hear about that. And I think more to it is to have a collection that's ready to sell. Something that's that you can buy off the ramp. To say, I'm taking this. And I've already seen something that I like from the collection that has come through. So that I admire so very much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks.
The most important thing, I think, is when a designer comes through with their own individual interpretation of the theme. I think that is key. It makes them stand out from everyone else that's within the theme. And we also see their thoughts behind what made them, for example, choose that beadwork. What I admire a lot of the designers is coming through with a lot of sustainable clothing. And I've seen it throughout the ranges. the fact that they're using culture in the collections, and the fact that, the School of Fashion drives the sustainable fashion forward and has been doing so for 60 years. It's now fashionable to be sustainable, but we've been doing it for a very long time. And then seeing it in absolutely every single garment that is coming through on today is phenomenal. It's going to showcase how we can do fashion responsibly. And it's showcasing this to the broader, when we have our show on the 6th of December and people coming for it and can buy the ranges off the ramp, they're buying responsible fashion. They're buying homegrown fashion. They're buying proudly South African fashion. And having all of those ticks, it's wonderful that it's going to be produced at a School of Fashion show and sold, and these students are going to be in business all at one go. So we're promoting, the economy, one small step at a time.
No, definitely. What you say about sustainable fashion is really the key, the buzzword right now, and it's so important. Greg, you mentioned earlier about just the pressure on fast fashion, to just keep producing at that phenomenal rate, is really, it's making us all stop back and say, actually, what are we doing, and why are we just contributing to the landfill sites? And why, so the focus on, let's make quality garments, and let's look at, how we produce things and why we produce it and what fabric we use. You've been pioneering that, and I think it's really great to see that, to focus and to see that, championing for that, to get into the market and to create an industry and an economy around that. That is really great, and it's hopeful.
But that is the role of a designer, because the economy of a country is one of the factors that influence the thought process of a designer. Second World War, look what the clothes were. The 60s, look what the clothes were. It all goes in cycles with the economy of the world.
No, I think it's important to focus on that, because we like to think that fashion is frivolous, but yet it's drives, it's a product of the world we live in, and designers have that role to kind of, and that responsibility to see their role as not just contributing to the problem, but actually saying, we have a role to actually shape where things go, and it's really powerful.
Houses for a thought. Fashion shows don't sell garments. Let's take a couple of names. Let's take Givenchy. Let's take Dolce & Gabbana. Let's take Yves Saint Laurent. What are their biggest selling lines? Shall I tell you? Perfume, jewelry, sunglasses. If they relied on the clothing, they wouldn't be in business. Because if you follow fashion, you are never in fashion.
Food for thought. Yeah, definitely. That's a mic drop moment right here. And talking about the fashion show, I keep hearing, suggestions and say, okay, for the runway, don't make sure that this changes, and so obviously this is the final, you're judging their final exams for the year, and then they will obviously have time to kind of tweak it, and then they're going to they shouldn't.
The rule is they shouldn't tweak it, but sometimes there are glaring mistakes, like a fan that doesn't work here. But they should not change the actual garment that's been judged.
Okay.
And what we can do is say, you're not putting that on the ramp, but they can't change the garment.
But then they basically, this is the final, the final feedback for them to actually go and present their year-long work to the public, which is really exciting. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the fashion show. And will you just let's just hear a bit more about the fashion show, when it is, and how people can get tickets.
Yeah, well, the fashion show is on the 6th of December this year. It's at Platinum Hall. We deliberately have it at Platinum Hall because that's the center of the industrial area in Pietermaritzburg, and we want to showcase that fashion is a business. So we are putting it deliberately in a fashion, in an industrial area. It is on the 6th of December, and the tickets are available here at the School of Fashion. So please come and get yours. It's already going, it's flying out the door as we speak, but it's a phenomenal celebration of 60 years. So we have a whole host of surprises and excitement and a lot of sentiments that will be showcased on that day. For 60 years, for a company and a fashion college to be running for 60 years, the amount of history and stories that has come through, and also, support from the community, support from industry, support from DFF, and so many institutions. This is a wonderful celebration to showcase the support that we've got through the 60 years, and we're eternally grateful for all the support that the School of Fashion has gotten through the 60 years.
I consult to a factory that makes not a lot of garments. They make 100,000 garments a month. 100,000 garments a month. And I brought them as guests last year. And when the CEO left your show last year, he said, Greg, when I see the quality and the quantity and the complexity of these garments, I understand now when you get cross with me with the simple garments that we make. He was blown away.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's wonderful to be recognized, and our fashion show shows that. I think that's the biggest part. Our students come from rural areas. They come from areas that are surrounding Maritzburg, that are in depth. We have students from everywhere, and then just showcasing them on that ramp for that short space of time and showing their talent. It's wonderful for industries to recognize their talent, and when they get seen on that kind of a platform, they then get employed. Yeah. And from there, it leads into the next step. And then they get chosen to do the DFF, and then they get chosen for SA Fashion Week. Yeah. And so it's a succession. So having them showcased at the fashion show like we do allows them the bigger platform to be now seen by the broader spectrum. And I think that is key for the industry itself.
No, definitely. And just to have that global recognition, national, recognition, and just to be noticed in that way. Just in small little Sleepy Hollow, Pietermaritzburg, it's really, it's really.
I have an affinity to Pietermaritzburg because my father was born here in 1922, and I love Pietermaritzburg.
Well, to School of Fashion, who's been pioneering sustainable South African fashion for the last 60 years, and who is now, you continue to put fashion, Pietermaritzburg and local fashion on the map. Here's to the next 60 years, and I'm very excited to see how all of this judging and this whole process and all the whole year's work for the designers. How I'm looking forward to the showcase at the school, at the fashion show. Thanks. I'm very much looking forward to it. And to all our listeners, you know where to get your tickets. Don't miss out. They're selling fast. Don't miss out on this really glamorous fashion event of the year. And I'm here today at the Pietermaritzburg School of Fashion, and I'm with Nonhlanhla Khumalo. She's one of the designers who is, you're basically about to go in to get judged for your final year. This is
my last collection. Yes.
That's so exciting.
Thank you so much.
How are the nerves?
I'm very much nervous, but I think it's perfectly okay to feel nervous sometimes. So specifically, my collection it revolves on the theme that they had at the Met Gala this year. So it's just basically about tailoring and how inspired I am about it, because it's very simple and clean at the same time. And the reason why I chose this type of fabric is because most people in town, I think it's basically the summer color, I guess, this year. So that is why I chose it. So I'm super proud of myself. So that is what I'm really inspired by my collection. So yeah.
My theme for this year was inspired by the artwork created by Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. The reason why I added glamour, art, and techniques and shapes is because I wanted to think like an artist like Vincent van Gogh was thinking when she was painting that actual painting.
Well, yeah, you can. It really comes through. Beautiful designs. I can see it. I can definitely see it. This is lovely. And what inspired you to kind of take Vincent van Gogh's work as an inspiration?
It's because the love of fashion started when I was in high school doing visual arts, and Vincent does paintings that have the memories and the message in the background. That's why I chose this Vincent van Gogh, because there is a story behind the actual painting Starry Nights.
I'm with Isra Khan, and you are a second year final designer.
Yes.
And tell me about your designs. These are looking beautiful.
So it's my theme is Eastern and African fusion wear, and so I've taken inspiration from both Eastern and African wear, and I've created this. And it's also got braids, which is symbolic of the intertwining of two cultures.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the fusion. It really does come through, and you're looking absolutely gorgeous, like a queen.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be modeling this dress?
I feel like a real queen right
Very
now.
real.
It's a real time.
Right up to the
be
tiara.
alive,
It's
yes.
beautiful. It is. And how are you feeling about going downstairs?
I'm
now,
feeling more
facing-
and more nervous as the time goes, because I know that I'm next. So I'm trying to keep calm.
Yeah, no, but you've got this, and you've got beautiful designs, and
Thank
so much
you.
hard work has gone into this. So congrats and all the
you.
best, and enjoy being queens
Thank
for
you
a
so
day.
much.
We're here with Simone, and as we prepare for School of Fashion Pietermaritzburg's 60th graduation, we're mixing with the designers, the models, and I'm here with a designer that's looking like she's going to win everything here. Tell us a little bit about you, and let's start with how difficult it actually is to put pieces together.
Okay, so basically, like now on one specific garment, we would take more than 3 weeks to complete, and we actually have 5. I think next year there's about like 7 or like there's somewhere there. And like you are working from like 7:30 in the morning when you get here till about like 2 o'clock in the morning the next day, and sometimes yet you are not even finished on the deadline day. Like we've had multiple people who are still actually not even finished after they had actually handed it in for marks.
You. What did you feel when one of the judges gave you a bit of an offer?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I was like standing there. I was just trying to keep my cool without like trying to jump up for like a joy, because that is such a big opportunity.
Yeah, you want to like act like you get like that all the time, but then also be like, I think you did a fantastic job. Well done, eh?
Thank you so much.
I met a corner at the Pietermaritzburg Fashion in Durban, and she absolutely blew us away with her class, with the work that went in. And yet again, we're here as Pietermaritzburg School of Fashion gears up for their 60th graduation. Tell us a bit of your inspo, but like, I want to know, you've got massive dreams. Where does this date fit into a corner's massive dreams?
I love to speak more about gender-based violence because we're tired. So all of my dresses, they speak more about gender-based violence. As you see, I added like these are teardrops here, as you can see. And the reason why I use red, it's because it symbolizes bloodshed, blood that was scattered. Many people were died due to gender-based violence. So I'm even a singer. I even have a song that is based to gender-based violence. So I really feel bad for everything that has happened to every woman and man that has been abused due to this thing of gender-based violence.
Corner, can I tell you what I love about you and then your designs when you put the two together? You're such a passionate person, and your designs are actually they not just eye-catching, they make you feel something.
Yes.
Especially now, like gender-based violence is such a massive source of negative power, and when I look at this, I just see people that are taking a strong stand against it. So I just want to say flippin' well done.
Thank you so much. And the reason why I added this is because people are saying we blame the society, but we are the society. But the main thing is alcohol. People drink alcohol, and that leads to gender-based violence. And they say you must know and limit yourself when you drink. So that's why I put this to emphasize, because we're tired. This is a national disaster. I thank you.